Now, a British man who has been given months to live says he's stuck in Oman and can't return to the UK for vital treatment because the authorities there confiscated and then lost his passport. David Hughes is suffering from end-stage liver disease and needs to come back to the UK for a transplant, but says the British Embassy has so far failed to help repatriate him. He went out to Oman to work, but after he was a passenger in a car accident in 2017, police confiscated his passport. Despite numerous attempts by David to contact the embassy, it was only after this programme got involved that the Foreign Office provided some assistance. Well, David is currently in hospital in Oman, but running out of time and money. Well, I've been speaking to him from his hospital bed and to his daughter, Maddie Offord. He told us what happened after he handed in his passport.
Well, I thought it was just going to be a formality. OK, they've taken my passport. Maybe they just took it until they found the driver, you know. And that's how I went back and I just got the runaround. You know, said, no, it's still under process, still under process. So I then, as time went by, not time, it was about a month or 2 months, because this was in July, I think, July in 2017. I said, well, I can't get anywhere. So I called the embassy.
The British Embassy?
The British Embassy, the Consular Emergency Department. And I said, I'd like to come and see somebody urgently. And the woman asked me what's it concerning? And I touched on the subject. She said, well, you're going to have a phone interview first, which will then be evaluated, and then we'll see. So I said, well, can't we do that now? She said, yeah, I can do it now. So the so-called interview was, OK, explain what happened. I've explained basically what I've just said, what happened at the accident, and they've got my passport. And they won't tell me anything. They won't give me it back. And she said, and I said, I'm looking for support from the British Embassy to find out what's going on, you know. And
what did they say?
She said, no, we can't do that. All we can do is give you a list of lawyers, and that's it. She said, we cannot get involved in local authority issues.
David, your daughter Maddie is here with us in the studio, and I want to bring her in, and I know that you want to speak with her as well. And Maddie, it must be so hard for you not only to see your dad in another country, terminally ill in a hospital bed, but to hear his treatment. This is over 2 years now that he's not had his passport, and he's stuck in Oman, desperately wanting to come home to receive treatment here. What has it been like for you and your family in that time?
I mean, it's stressful, upsetting, obviously, because even if he was in England and he was ill, it would be a stressful situation, but it's even worse that he's in a situation where he can't get the help he needs because it's expensive and it's not money that anyone has to hand. He's stuck, he's got no choice he hasn't chosen to be in that situation. He hasn't chosen to remain in the country. He's been trapped essentially in the country for something that he didn't do wrong. It wasn't his choice, and it just feels really unfair.
And you were telling me that it's costing money for your dad to be in hospital now. You've had to borrow money?
Yeah, so I've had to borrow some money to help get him on his way, or to get him in the door in hospital. That was just to even let them see him, because they've helped so much, but it was getting to the point where they needed money to be able to help him.
David, we've had a comment from the Foreign Office saying that we're offering advice and support to a British man who's been hospitalised in Oman, and we're in contact with his family. Our staff have visited him in hospital and are in contact with the medical staff, and the British ambassador has raised his case with the Omani authorities. Tell us about that visit that you had. Was it at the weekend from a member of British Embassy staff?
Yeah, well, the only reason why there was any form of contact was post Victoria Derbyshire's assistance and support, who then contacted the press office at the Foreign Office.
But David, the good news is, isn't it, this statement says that the British ambassador has raised this case with the Omani authorities. Does that give you some faith that things are starting to move?
Well, this is only a few days ago. So, you know, things move very slowly here. And but one would hope that, you know, it's the British ambassador speaking to his opposite at the Foreign Affairs Ministry, and I'm sure they have a good relationship, and they will look into it. However, what I keep telling people is it doesn't matter how illogical this situation is. They've let it go on and on and on, and now it's over 2 years.
Am I right that your dad's visa has now expired?
Yes.
So does that mean he's more likely to be able to get his passport back and get home?
No, at the moment, no, because every day that the visa is out of date, you get a fine. And for 2 years, his visa's been out of date. So he's got a fine for every day over them 2 years, which the visa's run out through no fault of his own. His passport was taken away from him, therefore he couldn't renew his visa. So this situation is, he hasn't, the fine, it should be void essentially, because he hasn't imposed that on himself. He has no choice in the matter. He didn't deliberately not renew his visa, which is also a huge stress and worry, because if that isn't lifted, or if no one can do anything to help that situation, then he's still stuck in the country, even if they did give him back his passport. So another stress, essentially.
I know sorry, David, go ahead.
They could give my passport back tomorrow, but that wouldn't do any good, because my name will be blocked at the airport for non-payment of fine.
Listen, I know you guys haven't seen each other face to face for quite a while. Maddie, is there anything you want to say to your dad?
I'd just like him to be able to come home and be okay, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
David, do you want to say anything to Maddie?
No.
David, thank you so much for speaking to us. I'm sorry that you're emotional right now, but everyone watching will completely understand why. And thank you for sharing your story with us.
And I would like to stress again, because the Astor Hospital, and particularly Dr. Ashik and his team, he's gone beyond, absolutely beyond everything to keep me alive.
David, thank you so much. Take care of yourself, and of course we'll continue to follow your story. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Take care, David. Thank you.
Bye, Dad.